This is Sandy Roberson. Today we're going to do something a little bit different than what we've been doing. I have purpose to try to interview all the candidates who are running for city council in our upcoming elections in March of 2022. Today I will be interviewing the candidates from Ward 6. Max, tell me a little bit about you. I've known you for a long time, but I don't know that I know your story as well as I would like to.
Well, I was actually born over in Nashville.
Okay, all right. County boy.
Yeah, county. Reared, and of course, parents were day laborers. And of course, I went to school over in Nashville, relocated to Rocky Mount after I graduated from high school. Started working with the CSX Railroad, and it was SCL at the time, but in 1971. And then I worked there as a locomotive engineer for 42 years.
Wow.
And while I was simultaneously, I was doing real estate, which is actually I've been in, sort of like getting ahead of myself, but I've been in real estate for sort of like 30 years as well.
Sure.
I have a wife. I have 2 children, which are grown, and I have 3 grandchildren. So that's the basic makeup of my family. I come from a big family of 8 children, which 7 are still living now. Mm-hmm. And my wife, of course, is from Whitaker's, and so she migrated south to Rocky Mount, and I actually moved eastward from Nashville to Rocky Mount. So, right. So we're both here now, and that is basically my story. The reason that I'm running is I've been a direct and indirect recipient of service and servants in my lifetime. And it has helped shape me. It has given me opportunities. And I think that a lot of people, when they made a platform, gave me a platform to be able to have a better quality of life. So out of their sacrifices and out of their servanthood, I actually just simply evolved into just becoming a servant. And looking at the city council, the reason I'm to this point now is, the Rocky Mount has a lot of assets, and it has the potential for an explosive growth. But I also think that we could look at our assets and how we best cultivate and use those assets in terms of where we are, whether it's the geography, we're going to become a transportation hub.
Sure.
But where my concerns are is this, and of course, I probably repeat myself, but I'm shaped by experiences. And so my experience from being in the labor, actually belonged to a labor union.
Okay.
And being an employee gave me the insights of how a person worked on a day-to-day basis and how it feels to receive a salary, how it feels to try to manage that salary to feed your family, as a working class person. Then in the business perspective, in the business realm, I was a business person, independent contractor. So it gave me another angle or another view of what a business person is confronted with. So if I can take those 2 experiences and blend them together and try to aid and assist my city or the region, that's what I want to do. And if I can make the quality of life of anybody else better, that's what I want to do.
What do you see as the opportunity in Rocky Mount? I know that as a realtor, you're seeing a lot of people coming into town. You're seeing new businesses. You're talking to different folks and gaining some perspective. So what are you hearing? And what do you think is really possible and probable for Rocky Mount? And then, of course, how do we get there? But, we don't need to load up all the questions at once.
Well, the possibility for us to be a thriving, vibrant neighborhood. Now, what does that actually mean? It means public safety. It means, I'm repeating, it means education. It means where you have those that enjoy that social life, that they don't have to go to Raleigh to actually have to go out at night and have a dinner. We got some nice places here. And certainly we could expand and we could grow in that area. We are an area where we are spread out. We have a lot of vacant land. We're still somewhat like rural. And so we could still grow a lot and still be able to move about without having a lot of congestion like Raleigh. I think that first and foremost, and one of the premier issues that I do believe that we will have to address is the school system. We have a lot of youth that could use a lot of tutoring and mentoring, and of course, working on that. We're trying to work on that.
Well, right, and I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, that's it's a pet project of mine. It's not something the city necessarily is responsible for.
Right.
Yet we are impacted dramatically by that, and we have a lot of kids who are not in a great place in terms of being able to optimize their having a learning experience. And so I appreciate you doing that. But you may want to talk about that a little bit more, because I don't think that you can drill that home enough. And further compounded by the fact that we're going to find ourselves in 2 counties,
right?
Which doesn't make for necessarily a bad education, but it makes it difficult as a community, as one community, to participate the same way, right?
I still believe we could have this constant dialogue to understand how the schools and how the city and its goals, how its goals are interrelated and connected. Because I have never seen, and maybe somebody can show me one, where you have a thriving economic community and then you had a dilapidated school system.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't.
It doesn't exist. You got an amen on that.
Well.
So you're running in the 6th Ward. So tell me what some of the specific issues of the 6th Ward that you're seeing that you feel like that we ought to be focused on. By the way, that's my ward, or at least it is for now. Hell, I don't know. Maybe for you too. I don't know.
One of the things that I'm hearing from people is that they would love to see the independent thought process and the critical thinking piece to it.
Right.
And I think my life experiences has enabled me to do that as well, because there are times when, even in real estate or even in serving in the community, whether I'm serving a not-for-profit or serving an association or organization, or even with my own story myself, there were times that you make decisions for the greater family, but also there are times when you have to sort of like isolate it out, and then you have carve it out, and you have to make a decision that is beneficial to you as well. But you always look at the greater good, and this has always been mine. So I think that part, but I also think that they are looking as to the entrepreneurship aspect of it. And with Rocky Mount being, again, having this great potential, how do we create more entrepreneurs? Certainly public safety affects us all.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, with Rocky Mount at large, we still have, regardless as to where you live, as you very well know, this is your line of work, we still have this health disparity.
Sure, we do.
Life expectancy between Wake County and Nash County,
Income matters.
Income matters.
Race, education, the stratifications go on and on and on, and they are impactful. A lot of it's cultural. A lot of it is just having availability.
One of the things, if you look at any of the studies, in terms of industries, companies relocating to certain regions, or they look at, what is this health cost is going to be? They look at that as a factor, it's a huge factor in determining whether they will locate to a particular place.
Give us a 30-second soundbite why you should be the Ward 6 city council person in the city of Rocky Mount.
I haven't formulated that yet, but it's going to go back. It's going to go back to education. It's going to go back to economic development. It's going to go back to entrepreneurship, and it's going to go back to independence and transparency. Right. And I think that those two run together, and I think that we can better off, and I think that that will give a greater sense of assurance as we move forward on some of the things that we are trying to accomplish here in the city.
We're getting close to an end, so what haven't I asked you that I should have asked you that you'll want to be able to convey?
But the thing that I think you got the basic summary.
Sure.
Of where I am with this, and it's just to a point now where it's such of a deep pull or yearning that's within me to say, have I actually served to the maximum capacity? Have I left it all on the field?
Right.
And it is for the benefit of, I use this saying, and my daughter don't like me to say it. I'm closer to the exit than I am the entrance.
Sure,
You know what I'm
I
saying?
understand.
So what I'm doing is that for the sake of my grandchildren and her generation, what is it that we can leave them? So anything that we can do here, in particular for our region, for our city, and understand that we are regional. I'm doing it for the city, but just like I apply that philosophy for my city, Ward 6, but then we are interconnected.
It's hard to separate Ward 6 from the rest of the city.
From the rest of the city. We all in it together. And so are we a region. We are Nashville, we are Rocky Mount, we are Tarboro, we are Eastern North Carolina.
Right.
And so we are looking at it from that regional perspective. But if we can transform this, the Eastern North Carolina to where, like I said, that where we can become, we will utilize all the assets, and then what we can become is we can become a really thriving community. And some people will probably have a different definition of what thriving really means to them, And so, but I just want the best quality of life here, and anything that I can do, I can leave it. Now, if I have some other thoughts, because I don't basically remember every question that I've asked you.
Sure,
that I've
that's
answered.
all right.
I remember every question that I've answered.
That's all right.
But I will try to add. But again, it is that entrepreneurship, not necessarily in that order. It's that economic development. It's that education piece. And that is the part in the independence and transparency. And I think that adds to accountability. And then therefore, I think that it creates like a check and balance in it. And so that's good.
It's
So,
awesome.
It's
That's
awesome. So
Well, look, I appreciate you coming. I've enjoyed talking with you.
That's me.
And look forward to many more opportunities.
Oh, got you. I got you. Okay, Sandy. I appreciate it, and I thank you for inviting me in.
I like you a lot. I think you're a sound character of mine, and you're the kind of people we want in leadership in Rocky Mount,
Thank you.
And so anything I can do to encourage folks like that, then just the better off we all are.
Oh, okay.
That's been a big concern, is how we encourage such a big debt.
Right.
And then obviously very soon thereafter, the hotel parking deck project. I got a package and I read the LGC presentation that was available for me to review. There was some confidential information.
Sure.
And I understand that. And, that was another thing that I wish we had done a little more due diligence.
Right.
The construction company and the advisor and the appraiser and all that, they were all affiliated with Mr. Hunt and had Alabama addresses.
Right.
Nobody local was involved. And, I don't know ins and outs of how we got to that point.
Sure.
But
Nor do I. So,
Right.
it's hard for me to really comment, but I understand everything that you're saying.
So, and
the
I-
inconsistency of
Right.
what you thought we were doing versus what we were doing
That's correct.
certainly have raised the flags enough for you to
Right.
say, you know what, maybe I ought to consider running.
And that's exactly why. And then what hit the nail on the head was when we learned over a 20-year period, $22 million plus or minus
Right.
in utility write-offs.
Right.
And supposedly nobody really knew
Right,
that.
right.
And that goes back several administrations, not
Yeah.
just, but,
Right.
and I spoke to the council in June of 2020. What else is there?
Right.
What else that we don't know?
Right.
And after making those presentations to the council in December and in January and in June, a lot of people came up to me and said, Tom, we really would like for you to consider the possibility of running for Ward 6.
Sure. Sure. I will make one point about the $22 million write-off. It is my understanding, and probably needs to be vetted out, that we're writing off about $900,000 a year every year. And then we go back, we still bill and we still collect. So we've been writing down probably $400,000, which is still a very large number over the period of time, but not quite as dramatic as 22 million.
Well, that's good. But I think
But
probably,
still 11 million is a strong number.
yes, sir. But a lot of the larger write-offs had to do with businesses.
Sure.
risk. You being
That's
in
right.
the self employment
Sure.
type of
Sure.
situation, there are risks involved.
Sure.
But hopefully, we can get some better information forthcoming that will satisfy a lot of the concerns of our citizens.
I agree with that, and I think that there's you can never overshare. I do
No,
believe that is true. You can never over communicate. It's important that everybody be on board. And I've been amazed, even though I felt like we've over communicated, how many people still don't know or know the outlets to go find the information on. But you raised a great question. So one of the initiatives that the city, or at least this current council, has said that they were interested in is affordable housing and an infrastructure bond, and have proposed that we go through a general obligation bond, which is a vote on 3 different categories, which I think is exciting in the way it should be. But let's talk about the debt service and what that means to the city of Rocky Mount. Kind of what's your perspective on that is?
Well, I think the debt service on the event center is about $2.5 million plus or minus
That's
a year.
right. That's right.
And we're not going to have enough revenues from the operations of the event center.
It's designed to bring tax dollars in.
That's
You got to
right.
look at it in a different sort
The
of.
multiplying effect
That's
of
right.
people coming in.
That's right.
But it would be nice if we can get a report periodically if the operations of the event center, the revenues generated by holding in various events. It would be great if it could cover the operational expenses,
Sure.
not depreciation, because that's a big number in and of itself. But
That's a non-cash item, too.
the salaries and the expense of supplies and food and all the other services that are being performed by the staff there at the event center.
Sure. Sure. And so affordable housing, the debt that you're looking at taking on associated with those bonds, kind of what's your perspective on that?
I'm an advocate for workforce housing, as
Sure.
they refer to it,
That's
affordable
right.
housing.
Sure.
I'm a big advocate, but when we give out grants or when we give out special loans, it would be nice to make sure that there is some report at the end of the day coming back that says these were how the dollars were used and they were expensed in accordance with what the application said.
Right. Right.
And I think that's just a
And verify down the road
Right.
after the fact.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we need affordable housing in Rocky
Sure we
Mount.
do.
I mean, in order to try to attract new industry and help other industries expand, we got to have a workforce.
Right. I mean, you kind of bring up another interesting issue, public schools. I mean, I know that's not traditionally the foray of the city of Rocky Mount, yet at the same time, we do sit in 2 counties. We're going through a demerger, or at least there's conversation of a demerger. So at the end of the day, how are we going to take care of the children? How do we provide for their education? And what's kind of the role of the city in that from your perspective?
Well, obviously, the school districts get their funding from the county, who gets their funding primarily from the state.
Right.
But I am a big advocate, Sandy, of trade. A long time ago, the powers to be said we're going to have education for all students to attend a public university or a community college. That has not gone well, in my opinion. We have skills out there that are badly needed by industry. Industry are looking forward to people to operate a computer numeric machine, a CNC machine, or a welding machine, plumbers, electricians, whatever. And those are good positions to have, good jobs for people. And I really would like for Rocky Mount to work together with both school systems to see, and local businesses, to see how we can put even more emphasis in our middle school students getting acclimated to some trade or trades. Hopefully that will go into high school, and then after high school, there's a career opportunity for a lot of graduates.
You are running for Ward 6.
That's
so what specific issues do you see for the ward that maybe you'd like to talk about? Because, I mean, clearly every councilman is a councilman for the entirety of the city.
Right.
But you are representing specifically a distinct ward, which is changing as we speak, but I'm confident you'll still be in Ward 6.
Well, I sure hope so. And what I hear more from the present Ward 6 constituents
Right.
is that we just need to have more information about what's going on downtown. I don't think, and of course, there's a Asian population now. We
Right.
got to consider that. You can go to the city's website, but a lot of people just don't know how to maneuver.
Right.
And I just hope at some point in time, if we can start televising some meetings, et cetera, that people will become more in tune.
Right.
Trying to catch something on Facebook Live is hard. Again, a lot of the elderly maybe have some knowledge of Facebook or not. But if we could have a steady, television station programming where various things can be presented to the citizens of Rocky Mount.
So what have I missed that you get asked more often than not? Tom, once you're elected, you will do fill in the blank.
Well, several people also have said, with your business background, I know we are trying to bring new industry. We're trying to work with current industry to expand. Said maybe with your knowledge in banking, you can add to something to that. But we have a great team that's working for Rocky Mount.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I would like to see Nash County coming back into the gateway.
Mm-hmm.
I think that will again solidify the two counties, with Rocky Mount being in the center for whoever is interested in the two-county area.
Right. Right. Anything else you want to add? Something I didn't ask that maybe I should have?
No, I appreciate the opportunity of being here. One last thing, from what I see with the police reports, I think we got to be proud of how the statistics have started to come down.
Right.
And that says something about our police department, the force, our leadership, our new police chief. The fire department does a good job. Well, public safety is a critical thing from my perspective as well. And
Sure.
but it's on the last 4 monthly reports.
Right.
The trend is certainly going in the direction we want it to go.
Amen. So before we go, if you could just give me your platform, maybe the top 3, 4 issues, list them out so that folks can understand that. Very simplistically, Tom Harris is about.
Tom Harris is about strengthening education,
Right.
public safety, business investment, but more importantly, my little slogan is openness leads to transparency, which leads to accountability, which leads to credibility.
Thank you
That's my spiel.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
All
I
right.
appreciate it.
Many candidates who are running for council seats have asked me to endorse them. And the thing that I've told them is, look, I would love to be in a position where I felt like I could endorse you individually and personally. But I really don't feel like that's fair to the city or the citizens of Rocky Mount. But what I am willing to endorse is a simple set of rules and concepts that I believe should govern the city of Rocky Mount and things that I hold dear in my heart. It's something I call the contract with the city of Rocky Mount. So I've asked each individual candidate to sign this, and let me read it for you today so that you understand those concepts. As a member or potential member of the Rocky Mount City Council, I propose not just to change its laws and policies, but even more importantly, to restore the bonds of trust between the people and their elected representatives. That is why, in this era of official evasion Posturing and finger pointing, I offer instead a detailed commitment toward the city's renewal, a written guarantee with no fine print. I choose to uphold a city council that respects the values and shares the faith of this community. My goal is to achieve accountability to the city council to make us all proud of the way our community and their elected officials govern itself, to move forward together as one Rocky Mount. If elected, I will work as a member of the Rocky Mount City Council to pass the following major reforms aimed at restoring the faith and trust of the citizenry in their government by operating in an open and transparent way. First, require all policies and laws that apply to the rest of the city of Rocky Mount also apply equally to members of City Council. Second, continue to televise every City Council meeting so that every member of the public who is interested can view, whether live or recorded. Third, select an independent auditing firm to conduct a comprehensive internal audit of the City of Rocky Mount, complete with continuous quality improvement processes that are disclosed to the public to seek to provide efficient and effective government every year for waste, fraud, or abuse. Fourth, designate the internal audit and CQI processes to include the mayor. Fifth, require every member of the City Council, the mayor, the city manager, and the city's assistant managers to sign the state's ethics contract with the city and provide a statement of economic interest. Sixth, post every dealing or contract with the city that may have a perceived direct or indirect conflict of interest on the city's website for public viewing with the explanation of why it is not a conflict. And seventh, require an independent forensic audit contemplated this fiscal year and have the audit refreshed every year going forward. Eighth, require every council member to disclose publicly all property tax and utility bills owed to the city immediately and then annually. Ninth, require every council member to take the UNC School of Government Ethics course every 12 months during his or her term of office. And then 10th, require that the mayor read at the beginning of every city council meeting, "It is the duty of every member of city council to avoid both conflicts of interest and the appearance of conflict. Does any member of the city council have any known conflict or of interest or appearance of conflict with respect to any matters coming before the city council in this city council meeting? If so, please identify the conflict or appearance of conflict and refrain from any participation in the matter involved and only vote if required by law."